3307, contact departure 135.6, advise center on a heading of 310.
Okay, we'll switch to center now, 35.6, and let them know what our situation for 3307. Thanks.
And a very pleasant Friday evening, everyone. Welcome to Denver, Colorado. It's Delta 1708 non-stop service to Minneapolis St. Paul this evening. And yeah, welcome aboard. We're just about to start the engines. We've got the flight plan entered. Clearances are all taken care of, and soon we'll be pushing back and on our way to Minneapolis St. Paul. Sounds like I got somebody next to me here. Oh yeah, got somebody maybe on the other side pushing back. I see there. Oh, I don't know what that is. That's really strange. Really strange. All right, but anyway, that's what we have tonight. Let's see here. Just a real quick overview of our flight plan. It's your basic route, northeast up to Minneapolis St. Paul. We do have some area of storms here south of Denver that we hopefully will be able to depart before they become an issue, but out here in, I think we're in the Nebraska area, yeah, North Platte, this is a little bit of a situation, and then there's some buildup right here, kind of that South Dakota, Minnesota border, and then a little bit up here, but that's east of the airfield, so hopefully none of that stuff will really impact us too much, but you never know, so we'll keep an eye on it. And of course this baby has radar, but it's not a functioning radar. It's actually a ground tracking radar. Maybe one day it'll be a functioning, integrated with active sky type radar, but not at this moment. So we're just kind of going through last little bits of our checklist to make sure we have everything ready to go, and I think we do. I think the only things to do now are to start the engines. So over here to the engineers panel, and we'll make sure that our oops, sorry, we want to go number 3 is first, so we'll set that to boost and feed. Try to do this without giving you vertigo. Maybe this is the best view here. Oh, we do have to, one thing we do need to do is we need to put our we need to go arm the starter. Okay, make sure that's there. And we do also need to turn the galley power off. They get a little cranky with us if we don't. Okay, main boost number 3 we turned on, and now we are ready to hit the starter switch for number 3. Come back over here, and we're going to watch this spin up. It's kind of hard to see this far away, but we want that baby to get to 17%, which there it is. At 17%, we can introduce the fuel, and with any luck, that'll come alive. And yes, indeed, we have engine 3 spooling up nicely.
2475, fly heading 320, separation.
Back in the Delta. After a little bit of a failed flight attempt last time, we tried to fly, I think, last Saturday, and the traffic was just so heavy that we actually waited for about 40 minutes for clearance and never did get it, and so we just kind of stuck a fork in it. We went flying, I think we jumped in the Beaver.
Contact, climb and maintain flight level 230.
Up to 230.
All right, 17%. Introduce the fuel on number 4. Monitor the gauges there. Yeah, I can't remember where we were, but I think we were trying to fly from Phoenix up to Denver. It was like a little crossfire event or something, and they were slammed, like 50 departures and 50 arrivals, and yeah, it just became a mess. And again, we waited and waited, and just finally just kind of cut our losses. And it's kind of one of those deals. Not a huge deal. We went up to Bowerman and flew in the Beaver instead. Okay, 3 and 4 look good. Here comes number 2 starter. Let's watch our RPMs coming up. And there we go. There's 17%. Actually, as if I remember correctly, we didn't make it very far in the de Havilland Beaver either. We tried to fly from Bowerman up to like one of the seaplane bases in Vancouver, and the weather kept us from doing that. So we ended up having to just turn around and come back to Bowerman. But yeah, it was one of those deals, and you just kind of roll with it. All right, there's number 2, and we will get number 1 going here, and then we'll be ready for push and taxi.
2475, turn right, direct P3.
Hope you're in the air wherever you're at. If it's a part of the northern migration, which is what the Friday Night Ops is called today, awesome. If it's not, I hope you're somewhere else having fun, enjoying yourself on a Friday night. Alright, everything is looking good. Our temperatures, pressures are all coming up. Everything, outside air temperature, that's, yeah, okay. Everything is looking good, so... Alright, we are ready. Tell you what we can do now is we can get rid of external air and power. That is a noisy part of this process. Turn the battery on.
It's actually a little bit high. You don't need to go that high. Suggest 200.
I think I actually missed a step here. Let me go to the overhead. We're going to pitot heat, all that stuff. Turn the probe heaters on. Anti-ice we don't need right now, but again, we do have some storms. We might have to keep a close eye on things. Alright, back over to battery. We turn to battery, and gen parallel can come on. That ties all these generators together. Galley power can come back on, so we can get the coffee going again. Let's turn the cabin compressors on. Let's get a little bit of AC going. It's warm out today. Cabin compressors can all come on, and Freon will come on. Let's see, where are we at here? Pumps will come down to feed only.
American 1011, read back direct.
And we are ready. We're ready for push. We're going to be expecting runway 8. I don't have the ability to use GSX with this plane, so we just have to do the old Shift P. We'll head straight back. Well, a little bit of an angle, I guess, but
first intersection left, maintaining 10,000.
We've got to make a left turn and head this way on that Alpha Sierra, I think. Probably catch Mike all the way up to runway 8, where this guy's holding, and we'll depart runway 8, eastbound to Minneapolis, St. Paul. Let's make sure we get clear of everything here.
I don't see you on Denver Airport, sir. Is your transponder turned on?
Yep, all I can also.
Thank you.
Our transponder, let's make sure it's on. It is. Alright, I think we're out here far enough.
I'm not receiving any ident on Denver or any place.
Uh-oh, not good.
You said you're not seeing me? The last center had me the whole way.
I understand, sir. What code are you squawking?
We're 2276, Delta 52.
752, squawk 1401 and identities.
1401, Delta 52.
Let that guy get sorted out, and then we'll request our taxi here, and we'll be ready to go.
Delta 160, contact Denver 135.6, 135.6 for 160.
Over to center, have a good night.
Southwest 123, radar contact flight level 230, direct yields.
230, direct yields for Delta, for Southwest 123.
Denver departure, Delta 1708, information Charlie, ready for taxi from stand Alpha 37.
Delta 52, I apologize. Turn right, heading 340, vectors for the ILS runway 35 right approach.
Alright, turning for 35 right approach, Delta 52 heading.
Apologize, 52. I didn't realize you were an inbound. I do apologize. It's kind of crazy. You're cleared for the ILS runway 35 right approach, Delta 52.
Alright, cleared ILS 35 right.
I shouldn't laugh at that.
Delta 52, heavy information, Charlie. Current the wind is 060 at 12.
Yeah, get that guy coming in, and I think we'll be next for our clearance. We may have to make one more call here as he's trying to get that guy.
11, runway 34 right. Taxi westbound out of the terminal to Mike and Foxtrot 1.
He's going to be kind of heading in that same direction as us, but he's going the other side of the... And departure Delta 1708, ready for taxi.
1708, and approach, runway 8, taxi via Mike.
Runway 8 via Mike, Delta 1708. Okay, that is us. Let's just make sure here we have everything taken care of. We need flaps set at 15. We're going to go ahead and do a real quick controls check. I guess we could have done that while we were waiting. Okay, that looks good. Somebody's spooling up here. Alright, let's release the parking brake. We're going to turn the taxi lights on, and
I apologize for not recognizing you. You're only about the fourth
ready to go.
It
was us spooling up. I'd bumped the thrust lever a little bit. That's not good. Good thing I had. That's why you set the brake, right?
They must be going crazy over there.
Alright, transponder is on mode Charlie. Our altitude is set. Our heading is set. Our weather radar is on. Our taxi lights are on. Our windshield heat is on warm. Our ignition override and continuous ignition are on. And we're heading east to taxiway Mike. Looking forward to a good flight into Minneapolis, St. Paul. Looking for a fun event today. I'll kind of show you what the traffic situation looks like here, but generally speaking, these are well-attended events, and the Minneapolis airspace does a nice job handling all the traffic. We are in the Aerosoft DC-8. This is Flight Beam Studios KDEN. Both very well done. Very fun add-ons. We're also using Active Sky for weather, obviously. V-Pilot is our voice tool, ATC tool. We are making use of the Navigraph moving charts as well as Sky Vector tonight, and also Vatastic, just to show you some of the other, that's the traffic tool that we'll be using to show you. And we're going actually flight beam to flight beam. I have Minneapolis St. Paul from flight beam as well, just another beautifully rendered airfield. Alright, let's take a look here. Clear to the left, clear to the right. I love the visibility that you have in this plane. You even have a little bit of this skylight, which I know the pilots hate it because basically almost no matter which way you were flying, you almost always had sun beating down on you. And the reason why those aren't open anymore is because of that. And so pilots were jamming their clipboards and taping up paper and all this stuff to keep it cool. It's just like in your car, if you have, you know, a skylight and or a moonroof or whatever you call it, and the sun's beating down, man, it's hot. So but for me it's kind of nice. We're making those turns and you can look up and through, and yeah, it's come in handy a couple of times. In fact, I used this one on that circle the land approach into Innsbruck. While you're making that really hard right-hand turn, you can actually look through that window and see the runway a little bit. It was kind of cool. I also have an update, by the way. I don't know why this thought just popped into my head. Have an update on the Flight 1 Beech King Air 200 Super. We had some frame issues in our last stream, which was on Wednesday. Had some big time frame issues, and I was a little worried that perhaps it might be the last flight that I make in that, and I was thinking I was going to have to go out and maybe look for a new King Air, but that I don't think is the case, and I'll tell you why once we get ourselves up and rolling. It's actually a good news, bad news sort of a situation.
American 1011, contact line, maintain flight level 200.
Denver weather right now, by the way, winds 230 at 6. We are looking at some broken clouds at 17, some broken at 250. No immediate precipitation just yet, but we did show you that storm that's brewing kind of to the south, but it looks like we're going to be able to get out of Dodge before it causes us any problems. There are a couple of fronts in between Denver and Minneapolis. Again, we'll have to kind of keep an eye on, but we'll be at 350, so with any luck we'll be kind of over the top of all that stuff and not having to worry about it a whole heck of a lot. And that is pretty, no doubt about it. Can't really see the mountains very well. It's a little hazy. There are some forest fires in this area, and we have the ENV. I don't know what you call it. ENV DIR, the ENV suite, and it actually models that stuff. It models forest fire haze and things like that, so that's kind of cool. Makes for a pretty realistic, pretty immersive experience. So, alright, we're coming up on runway 8. Flip over here, one last look Nothing to do until we are cleared.
Southwest 123, contact Denver Center 135.6, and have a good flight tonight.
We'll hold short right here and wait for our taxi clearance, or takeoff clearance. Maybe need to make a call. And departure Delta 1708. We are holding short runway 8, ready for departure. Oh, hello.
Thank you, 123. 1708. Flight heading 070. Climb and maintain 10,000. Departure wind is 06012. Runway 8, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff runway 8. We'll fly heading 070 Delta 1708. All right. So we have been cleared direct Akron, which is our first VOR. It's a pretty short little jaunt, though. It's only 67 miles. But most of this first stretch is just simply going to be getting ourselves up to cruise. We're at already almost 5,000 feet of elevation here in Denver, so for us to climb and maintain 10,000, especially in this plane, is nothing.
523 Charlie, say full call sign, please.
So we have a takeoff, a max EPR of 187. That's basically our toga power, and then we climb out. Our climb power is going to be 155 initially. That'll change as we gain altitude and the temperature cools off. That'll be what we're looking for. We want a speed of 250 until 10,000, and then at 10,000 we level off and we try to get our speed up to 300, and that's the speed we try to maintain as we climb out. So that's the part I've been working on. Let's see how I do today. Okay, ready to go. Takeoff power coming up.
Approach equipped to the Minneapolis Airport by the plane's main departure, Akron transition, then it's final.
And takeoff power set.
Flight level 33010 minutes after departure.
Rotation speed is 136. There's V. Oops, sorry about that. There's V1. There's rotation speed.
Wind is 05090, altimeter 3021. Expect runway 8 for departure and call for taxi.
I see a positive rate. Our gear will come up. Turn 070. Flaps can come up. There's our heading.
Cover 6022 heavy. Denver approach, you are cleared to the Minneapolis Airport by the Yoke 6 departure. GC transition that is filed.
Generally climb out between 2,000 and 3,000 feet per minute. Just right now we're mainly focused on the speed. Obviously we don't want to go past 10,000. May have to come off the throttle just a little bit there. We're through 7,000 right there. Speed looks good. Hoping we get a radar contact and cleared up to like 230 or something. There's 8,000.
Approach, that including Spirit 382 with Velvet.
There's 9,000. Yet we're going to have to power down because we got to level off. Not a great situation for us because it's hard to build airspeed in this aircraft. So we're going to level off right here though and try to keep our speed managed. If you get a little too slow in this airplane, you start to pitch up, and then it's very, very difficult. In fact, in many cases, you have to just drop the nose and lose altitude to kind of regain the proper pitch angle in order to regain your airspeed. So we want to keep that airspeed right in that 250 range. That'll be pretty stable. We're a little slow here. We'll try to nudge the power up slightly. Slightly over 10,000. That's not good. We'll try to come down here. And departure Delta 1708 at 10,000.
Delta 1708, radar contact for maintain flight level HB0, and you're cleared direct, release standby. Cleared direct Akron, climb and maintain 230.
Okay, climb and maintain 230, cleared direct Akron, Delta 1708. Alright, so we're going to go ahead right now, since we're leveled off, we're going to try to just gain our, we're climbing a little bit. We're going to try to get our airspeed to up to 300. We'll turn our retracts and our landing lights off. While the speed is coming up, we're going to adjust this. 230, and we'll turn a little bit here. As you can see, we're a little left of course. We'll just try to maintain level flight here, and we can go ahead and our climb power is 156 or 155. So right now you can see we're pretty close, and here our speed's coming up nicely. It's wanting to climb, which is also good. We want to be patient though. We want to get that speed up to 300, and then the tricky part is trying to hold that speed as long as you can. So there's 300, and we will adjust our climb accordingly. We're going to go ahead and set our heading just in case we want to go into autopilot mode, but right now we're just going to kind of hand fly this thing. It's really a joy to fly. I mean, very, very smooth. It's not I mean, it takes a while to turn and speed up and slow down and all that good stuff, and it is a glider. Big old wings, huge tail, but very, very stable to fly, easy to trim, and yeah, just a lot of fun. And as you can see, tons of power. I mean, we're carving through 3,000 feet per minute on the climb like it's nothing. So I'm cleared direct to Akron. I'm just going to spin this around and let's see where we actually need to go. So really, we're actually on course right now. Pretty darn close anyway. I'm going to try to sneak outside and just have a look around. I don't want to do that too long because I worry about Yeah, worry about my airspeed. There it was. I dropped the nose a little bit, and this thing will overspeed in a. That's about the only thing it seems like it does faster than you think. Is it'll go from 300 to overspeed in almost no time at all. So.
American 1011, contact Denver Center 35.6. Sorry for the delay, sir. Sun Country 652, read back please.
Slid maybe a little bit left of course here. Again, we're just hand flying this right now. Probably hand fly it up to cruise. I just reading the just kind of reading some documentation on this plane. That's kind of what was common, and that was the best way to maintain the airspeed, was just to hand fly it. So that's what I've been trying to do. And it's worked. I mean, we've been able to maintain that airspeed a lot better doing it this way, and I think we've been fairly stable in the climb out. We did. Oh, where did we depart from? Man, oh man, we came out of somewhere 2 trips ago in this plane, and it was a mess. It was horrendous weather. We were coming out of Miami. That's right, Miami down. We were flying down to somewhere in the Caribbean, and that was really not a very good departure. It was up and down and not very stable. But again, you know, you try to do that. You try to fly by hand, and you just get a little bit better every time. As you can see, right now my airspeed's dropping a little bit, so I need to just let the nose come down slightly. Check my charts here. The only bad part about flying it by hand is it is a little bit more difficult to check the charts as you're going. But I'm sure now we're cooling off a little bit, and so yeah, we're down to like plus 10 Celsius, so we should be able to, let's see, our continuous climb thrust now, and we're at flight level 200, so that helps us as well. Oh yeah, we can go up to 172 now, so we'll bump that, nudge that up a little bit. This is set at 187, so we want to stay shy of that. Actually, I'm just going to do this. We're stable enough. I think I can spin this down to 172. Yeah, so we maybe went a little too much, so I'll back the power off slightly. Again, my speed is a little slow, but I'm about to level off again here, so that'll help me regain that, recapture some of that airspeed. Pretty well on the VOR, on the outbound. Update my heading bug just in case I need to go autopilot. And as you get higher up, of course, your speed is not as easy to maintain, and you have to bring that climb rate down anyway. But we're through flight level 216 right there, so 1400 to go. Slide just a little bit right of course. Speed's coming back up nicely. I do have my continuous thrust and everything is still on, isn't it? So I'm going to pull that off. That does pull a little bit of power. So the more efficient we can be, the better. Closing in, by the way, on Gardner. So I actually think what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to arm the autopilot. We're going to put it in heading mode. We're going to adjust our rate of climb so that we are right about 1500 or so, and we're going to keep our eyes on this guy as it comes around, and also we're going to be peeking ahead just a little bit because the next waypoint is 1740, and we're going to be heading out of Akron on a 050 radio, so we're not intercepting this VOR super well, but we're too close to worry about it. We're just going to be in the ballpark and here at about a couple of miles. Alright, there it is. Oh, I went to 240. Dang it, I'm illegal by 1,000 feet here. Shoot. Now that's a dumb mistake. I was not paying attention to the altitude. I went past. Alright, well, there's nothing I can do about that right now. We're going to just keep an eyeball. Alright, I think we're just about past. This will flip from to to from.
Clear for takeoff.
You can see this thing is varying pretty wildly now, so that means we're really near where it's at. Again, it's a 050 outbound radial. Alright. So right there, 050 heading, 050 outbound, and all we have to do now is 1740. See if that tunes in. If it doesn't, we do have the INS that we can use. Let's see if the INS is active. Yes, it is. Alright, so the INS is active. We'll go ahead and arm that. We'll be doing a little bit of adjustment to pick up that VOR. The difference between the INS and the radio navigation here, of course, is the radio navigation is tuning in the frequency, like for North Platte that we're inbound to. It's 1740, so you tune in your nav radio to 1740, and that's what that's based on. We're just about to overspeed here since we leveled off. Look at that. Lot to monitor in this plane. The INS is based off of the GPS coordinates that you put in. So I didn't show you that step. But at the beginning, you plug in the actual latitude and longitude coordinates into the INS here, and that's what it uses to get you from point A to point B. He's forgot about me.
From GSI 587, we got correct information, Delta current, except runway 8, call for taxi.
So we do want a Mach of about 0.78 when it's all said and done. A Delta 1708 level at 230. I think he must have forgot about us.
Delta 1708, I told you over, I believe it. You turned you over to center some time ago. Contact Denver Center 135.6, please.
Okay, over to center. Sorry about missing that call. Delta 1708. Yeah. We'll have to go back and listen. It happens. I have definitely missed my fair share of calls in my day. So center's probably wondering what the heck is going on, although he's plenty busy himself. So 3560.
No delay. ETX 329.
Denver Center, good evening. Delta 1708 Heavy 230.
Delta 1708 Heavy, Denver Center, climb maintain level 350.
Climb and maintain 350, 1708. Alright, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to increase our thrust to our climb power. Let that speed stay up there on the positive side.
Contact Minneapolis 133.4, okay? 4, good night.
And then we're going to come down here to our vertical speed indicator, and we're just going to spin it up a little bit here. Probably will be between 1,000 and 1,500 feet a minute.
American 1011, you are...
Let's just kind of see what happens. I was pretty happy with that departure. Just missed a handoff there, I think, so that's a bummer, but that's okay. We'll be all right. So this is a little strange. I don't have my DME active, so that's a bit odd. Luckily, we do have in the INS, we have a DME, so it's telling us we're 88 miles away, about 11 minutes. I like to have the right hand side INS set on wind. Wind's right now out of 301 heading and 32 knots. So that's I like to have that. So all right, we're climbing at about 900 feet. I think we go a little bit more. Our speed is fantastic. We're 320 right now. We're a Mach about 0.75. That will change when we get up to altitude and get leveled off. We'll be a little bit slow on the ascent, on the climb out. Alright, speed's looking good. We're at about 1,200-ish feet per minute. We don't need to be greedy, but we'll go ahead and just see if we can get 1,500 feet a minute, see if that keeps that going. In the meantime, let me show you what we're looking at and why this is fun. So here we are. We're chasing a bunch of 737s, and there's a what is that? EA-50 Embraer, some kind of Embraer. There's a 7.5, so a variety. There's a 7.4 Queen, but the majority of the traffic here coming looks like from Louisville. We got a big old line coming up here from Louisville, and of course Chicago O'Hare to Minneapolis, a very popular route, as you can see. So we have 114 arrivals that we're looking at, and we're one of them. But it could be interesting before it's all said and done. All right, speed's coming back down nicely. We're maintaining, 1,500 in the climb. I'll bump it back down. I mean, we at a certain point here, we're gonna have to make a judgment call as far as, do you climb it like 200 feet a minute, or do you let this fall down a little bit? But we've managed to keep our speed up really for the majority, and we're within about 8,500 feet of our top of climb. So I'm okay with that.
At your 9 o'clock, 6 miles on final.
Did not adjust this. We need to. 350. I did see a little bit of lightning, kind of weathery looking action, and again we're expecting that to some extent. Here's what it's looking like on active skies weather. That's a significant storm right there, obviously, but it looks like it does extend into our path. Our hope, though, is that we're up high enough that it doesn't really impact our route today. So we'll see, though. That's the fun part of this deal. ADF has come alive. I wonder what ADF I have tuned in accidentally. There's our DME getting active. I tell you, me and this INS, we don't always see eye to eye. I'm still learning. That's the main thing. But it's nice to see that DME and that DME are fairly close. I mean, we're talking a mile difference. I'll take that. But I still have some quirkiness that I have to deal with, and so that's just part of the learning curve, I think. All right, through 290. Awesome. 6,000 to go. So as we're climbing, let me catch you up in case you watched the stream Wednesday, which, by the way, had one of the better landings that I would say approach and landing that I've had on the stream. More on that in just a minute. But we flew from, no, man, where did we fly from? We flew from Lake Placid into Boston Logan as part of their Pack the Pattern on Wednesday, and the flight itself was really very, very nice. You know, scenic. I love the King Air 200. All that stuff. It was fun to have the G1000 going again, and just all that stuff was working really, really well. But when we got within about 15 nautical miles of Boston, our frame rates went south. And I don't mean just like the typical kind of slow, laggy, like usually I get 60 and now I was down to 50 frames per second type of deal. I mean, it was like a 3 to 5 frame rate per second, and with a pause every second. It'd be like 3 frames, pause, skip ahead, 3 frames, pause. It was nasty. It was ugly. It was very, very difficult to land. It was frustrating, and I was a little worried because I've had a couple of other issues in that plane that made me think about maybe the lifespan of that plane, which is an original like old FSX plane that was ported over, and it's for the most part it works in P3D, but every time P3D updates, something else on that plane doesn't work really well. So I thought, well, maybe this is just a sign. It's kind of like the third thing that has happened, and but anyway, so I did some other testing just to see. By the way, we're not going to outclimb this by much, if anything. So we may run into some bumps here. We're just through 315 right now, holding pretty good speed still. I am going to shallow it up just a little bit, as much as I hate to do that because I don't want to run into any of this. But so anyway, I did a little bit of testing. I did a couple different things. I put some different aircraft there at Boston because I do know that scenery is kind of a frame hungry scenery, and it does affect a little bit of you know, some of the different planes I fly. But I was not able to replicate that problem with any other airplane. However, when I respawned in the King Air, same problem, stuttery. So you know, there definitely was a connection there. So that's kind of the bad news, is the King Air 200 Super and Boston Logan are just, their ones and zeros don't like each other. So that's going to kind of be an off-limit combination for the channel. The good news is that I spawned at about 7 or 8 other airports that are kind of varying in terms of their frame friendliness. I have a couple like San Diego and Las Vegas that are very tough on the GPU, and they really, if I get stuttering, it's at those airports. And the King Air actually ran pretty well. Really, the only other airport that I had issues, and not as bad as Boston Logan, was at Miami. And so that made me at least feel a little bit better that you know, I'm still going to be able to fly that aircraft to various locations. I'm just going to have to kind of avoid, it looks like right now, Boston and Miami. The other airports I have seem to be working okay. You know, the Dojevsky design airports those tax my computer, and you know, but I have flown the King Air out of Teterboro, I think is one of them that I have, and so it is doable. But just so it was like I say, a kind of a good news bad news scenario. But the good news is I'm not so worried about having to sort of look for a different King Air option and spend that money on another add-on. I can continue to use that old plane. As you know, I am a sucker for older vintage aircraft, and she's one that I have fallen in love with. So I'm really happy that I'm able to continue to use this. Okay, here we are. We're just about 13 miles away. Here's a little bit of turbulence, but you know, we only have 1,500, 1,400 to go. But we've got to make a turn here in just a second. We're going to be turning at a 036 heading, and we're heading up to O'Neill. So that's our next turn, and here in just a minute, probably give it to about 5 miles, and then we'll engage the heading mode, and we'll make our turn, make our adjustments, all the things that we need to do here. 036, I think I said. Yep. Alright, so we're pretty close. We're going to go back over to heading. We're going to spin this guy to a 036 outbound. It's inbound now because we haven't quite got to North Platte. We will put in 1390. It's a little bit of redundancy at this point because we're using the INS. But I have had to flip from the INS back over to radio nav in the past, and so it's always good to have, those things ready to go. All right, we'll switch our heading up here. We're losing our track a little bit, so we'll turn the INS back on. And we'll try to recapture that path. By the way, it's ugly down below us. Holy guacamole. That's some bumpy business right there. Our hope is that's maybe the end of it. I'm just kind of looking here at, and it's hard to tell, of course, with that Tastic. We're here. This is the buildup that we're currently battling, although Active Sky shows that it's more down here. But you know what? This is kind of building up here, so there may be a second round of storms that impact us. And this guy here, if it's tracking northeast, could be somewhere near the airfield by the time we get there. So that's, and I've just, oh man, I've blown through my altitude here. I'm 3,700. Shoot. So that's twice I've done that. Gotta pay attention to what I'm doing here. Alright, while I'm descending back, the descent of shame, I am going to look at my Mach 0.78 cruise number. I'm going to pull this over here, and so I've got, so we're going to be flight level 350. We want Mach 0.78. We are about 250, so 173 is going to be our cruise setting. So we'll go ahead and set that 173, pretty close to what we are right now. Our thrust, our power setting got way above that, so pull that back just ever so gently. We are descending, so we shouldn't have to worry about speed dropping. We'll try to get that down to 173. Just little tiny adjustments at this point. And that's pretty darn close. This is almost at 350, so we're going to get ready to spin this guy down. And you'll hear the click, and that'll be the altitude hold. There's the click. Alright, now all we have to do is just kind of monitor our routes. We can do a check of temps and pressures. We'll go back and do a fuel check as well. But the first thing we need to do before that is we need to go through our cruise checklist. So our cruise speed is set. Our ice protection is not needed. The tank selectors, yeah, let's go do that right now. This is a part of this plane I'm still really learning about, is the fuel management. Tank selectors should be the main, should be boost and fill on. Okay, boost, 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 and fill on. Those are just, they basically just stay up for now. The fill valve needs to be open though on 2 and 3. So we'll open the fill valve, and what we do is we try to monitor, and when these get below 7,000 basically, then you have to do some different things here to keep things balanced out. But right now, those numbers are fairly close. These numbers here, 41 and 8,000, those are fairly close as well. So I think we're doing a nice job there. By the way, we're heading east, so we're going to turn the left hydro bypass pump off. You're supposed to alternate that as you go. And cruise checklist is complete. We are at cruise, so back in the day, you know, the no smoking. Oh, I never did put fasten seatbelt signs on. That tells the cabin crew that we're ready for service. However, Melvin Leroy Airlines Mel Air is a smoke-free airline, so we're going to keep that on.
Runway 15, I'm making tentative.
Alright, we better not waste this sunset here. Let's go out and have a look around and enjoy the sights and sounds.
About 5-8 miles east of the P3D VOR. American 1064, we were stepping out of cabin for a little bit. We'll report when we're back. American 1064.
Today, 25 is up in the past level 192.
Underway 586, representative climb maintain level 270.
And 370 for short notice.
Quite a sight. Alright, 60 miles from where we're heading, and that checks out here with the INS. About 7 minutes to our next waypoint. It's the O'Neill VOR. Winds Yeah, coming off our left side a little bit, but not too bad. 48 knots, considering there's a major thunderstorm brewing just below us. But like the pink hues, that's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I do like the night lighting also in this plane. It's got quite a selection of things you can do, and I actually am going to do this. I think we can turn that off. Don't need to have that on quite yet. We'll just kind of turn up the backlighting here as we go. That should be plenty. The one thing I didn't see ever was how to turn the lighting on. I was supposed to check on that and I forgot. You would think there'd be a way back here. Those look like master heater. Yeah, I don't want that. Circuit breaker lights, floor lights. There's a table light. Oh, that does. Maybe not. I don't know if that acted like it wanted to click, but I don't know that it does. You would think the lights for this particular panel would be controlled back here, wouldn't you? I'm not seeing anything just yet. Ah, there it is. Okay. Panel lights. Yeah, baby. Alright, and you can do the floodlight if you need to. We won't. We'll leave that off. We'll just kind of keep the panel lights on, and we'll do the same thing over here. We'll turn these panel lights. First officer. Pedestal lights. Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. Alright, so we're at 0.80. We're actually just a little bit fast. So this is actually, by the way, our maximum cruise power, so we can back off a little bit on that, and there really is no hurry, because it's one of those hurry up and wait deals in a Friday night op. So we'll pull back a little bit. We'll get this down to 0.78 and settle in. It's been a wonderful flight so far, and really enjoying Friday night. Hope you are too, wherever you are. Whether you're on the flight sim or, more importantly, you're with friends and family, just hope you're having yourself a blessed evening, and finding a way to just enjoy life. Enjoy the blessings that have been provided to you, even if it is over to Minneapolis Center for Delta 1708. You have yourself a good night. Even if it's just the blessings of a simple flight simulation, we can always be thankful for that. 3340. I'm going to wait to check in for just a second because I have to make a trip back to the little captain's room. Be right back. Got back just in time.
135.47 today. 35.47, that's something between that.
Minneapolis Center, good evening, Delta 1708 Heavy, flight level 350 inbound O'Neill.
1708 Minneapolis Center, roger.
Okay, we're going to go to heading here. We're just about 10 miles from our VOR. We actually just continue fairly straight here. We're heading to Sioux Falls next. I got a second I could show you. So we're hitting O'Neill here, and then we're just kind of continuing on. It's a little bit, looks like a little bit of a right-hand turn into Sioux Falls. So we'll make that adjustment. There we go. We're 9 miles away. We'll go back to heading mode. And it looks to me like, okay, so we were on a 036 heading. It looks to me like, yeah, we're 039er outbound now. So we'll go ahead and make that slight adjustment here in just a second. We'll let this VOR flip over before we did that. We were a little bit quick last time, although I don't think it made a huge difference in where we ended up. Just for the comfort of the passengers, though, the less kind of left and right I think that you have to do, the nicer it is for them. We are on heading mode, so even if this does flip around, you know, we're going to continue on the direction that we're heading. We will also switch the VOR over to Sioux Falls, which is 115.0. Almost out of Fresca. Alright, so we're actually counting up now, so we've went past our VOR. So let's change this to 039. Let's re-engage the INS. We will tune in 1500. And again, I'm not sure which NDB I've tuned in on accident here, but what is it? 284? I wonder what it is. Wild. Okay, 102 miles to our next waypoint, and yep, that checks out. 99 on the INS. We do have, so coming up here on the SimBrief flight plan, I want to make sure, so after Sioux Falls, which is, let me show you what I'm looking at here. So we've just passed O'Neill, now we're heading to Sioux Falls. So after Sioux Falls is our top of descent, and I forgot, generally I actually put that in as a waypoint, and I forgot to do that. So that stinks, but I know somewhere between Sioux Falls and Redwood Falls I'm going to need to start my descent. So what I'm going to end up having to do is just the old divide by 3 deal.
1775, climb and maintain level 30. Previously you see traffic off your 11 o'clock position along this. 1775, level 340.
I do have ATIS here for Minneapolis St. Paul. Information Oscar. I'm going to take some notes while I read this with you guys. Information Oscar. It looks like winds 2006 at 6. 10 statute miles of visibility. We're scattered at 170. Broken at 250. Yeah, we're kind of seeing that. Not seeing anything else in terms of altimeter 3009. Not seeing any weather or any precip, which is good. So visual approaches 1-2 right, or we can't do the RNAV Yankee to 1-2 right, so we'll, looks like we'll be taking the visual 1-2 right or the visual 1-2 left. They're departing both of those runways. Oh, and runway 17, the rarely used runway 17. 4 and 22 are closed. Okay, good to know. We will advise we have Oscar, and what we'll do is we'll set up, kind of take a peek ahead here. It's not a bad idea to look at one of these. We let's see, by the way, we are on the Skeeter 5. That's the arrival that we filed, and hopefully they won't change that yet. Skeeter 5. So let's look at that real quick, and let's see what it tells us as far as what altitudes to expect. We don't really have to do this ourselves today because we do have all the ATC out there. Alright, so Skeeter 5, so we will hit Redwood Falls after we go by Sioux Falls, so really truly should be descending before that. So we're going to be 11,000. 1,000 here at Sean. And that's about it coming in. Okay, so yeah, we'll do some math and just kind of take a peek here where we think we should be descent wise. And again, we'll wait for the ATC call, but it's always good to kind of be ready. Normally we get the 1-2 right. If we get 1-2 left, it's going to be similar though. Probably coming into probably the Krug area here. Our initial approach fix will be vectored into here. So 7,000 is kind of that initial altitude that we'll be looking for. We've got an airport elevation of 842. We'll be looking at an approach course of 121. Again, if we do 1-2 left, it's very similar, if I remember. Yeah, maybe a different initial fix here. CJ, and I would guess that's also though going to be 7,000. Yep, alright, well, we'll keep that kind of in our back pocket, ready to go. Just gives us, like I say, an idea of what to think about, what to look for. But we're a ways away from that just yet. However, we are closing in on Sioux Falls, and again, the top of descent comes after Sioux Falls, between Sioux Falls and Redwood Falls. And so if we are currently at 3,000 flight level 350, and we need to get down to one of those waypoints had us down at 11,000, so we need to lose 24,000. Let's just do a quick calculation here. 24,000, well, divided by 3. Why am I using the calculator? So that's 80. So we want to be descending, or hopefully we'll be descending somewhere around 80 nautical miles away from that waypoint, which was, I gotta go back and look. Sorry, guys. The Sean intersection. So the Sean intersection, as I'm looking here,
flight level 350.
okay, so there's Sioux Falls. We'll be in here for our top of descent. Where is Sean? Where is Sean? Right there. So Sean is a good looks like 56 or so miles past Redwood Falls. So if we need to be descending 80 miles before Sean, so we'll take that call that 60 miles. So we need to be out here 20 miles or so before we get to Redwood Falls, roughly. And again, this is an 87-mile lake, so I would say somewhere when we're, you know, either 60 miles away from Sioux Falls or 20-ish miles away from Redwood Falls would be when we were expecting top of descent. I hope any of that makes sense. Downwind Sim checking in. Good to see you with the pizza. You can be forgiven for not having ice cream if you brought pizza. I think that's a pretty good rule. What are we up to tonight? Downwind Sim asks. Well, we're in the Friday night ops, the northern migration business, the madness here in the Minnesota area. Let me show you what it looks like here, my good man. It's actually, this looks pretty wicked. Very wicked, but it's calmed down slightly. Now only 83 arrivals. When we first departed Denver, it was up over 100. I think it was like 114 arrivals or something crazy like that. They have, or at least had, just this huge group that came out of Louisville and a second huge group that came out of 1708. Go ahead.
Understand Mach number, please.
A Mach 0.78 for 1708.
That's 1708. Mach 0.75 for less for intro spacing 75 or less.
0.75 or less, Delta 1708. Anyway, they've got a major group still to deal with. It looks like they're doing a fantastic job. If only pilots like me would pay attention to their call sign and not miss calls, I'm sure that would be greatly appreciated. So we're going to reduce our speed here, Mach 0.75. And again, I think what they're attempting to do here is kind of get me off of the tail of, there's a Southwest that's out ahead of us here, 7-3. Try to slow us down a little bit. We do not have the ability to execute any kind of a published hold except manually. So, you know, as if we end up having to get any kind of a hold, we're going to have to do it by hand. Which, you know what, so be it. All right, 17 miles to, I think this is Sioux Falls. Yes, indeed, 17 miles to Sioux Falls. At Sioux Falls, we will be making a slight right-hand turn, 046 heading for a quick little 87-mile leg.
Was that for me?
All right, we're just about down to 7.5. Perfect.
Canadian Express 610 ident.
Super important, by the way, to pay attention to your call sign especially on a night like this, but on every night. I do remember one event into Boston where the approach controller, if you missed your call, he sent you to the end of the queue for the approach, and there was like a 70-mile line of approaches. So that got everybody's attention. All right, so let's set the heading here. 30 degrees left, Delta 1708. All right, so that's perfect timing. We're going to go right. It's going to be right in that range right there. We'll just go straight north. Speed's getting a little slow now, as tends to happen. You make a little bit of an adjustment, and there's kind of a delayed reaction. So try to add some power back in. Whoops. That looks pretty cool.
Resume public speech after offset on the 11.
Quite nice, quite nice.
Yeah, no problem. 3009er at Minneapolis.
Slowly feeding power back in here, by the way. Just trying to make sure we don't get too slow. Need a little bit more pedestal lighting here. I am going to go ahead and put in.
I'm going
to go ahead and put in the Redwood Falls VOR 1330 just in case we start heading that way here soon. Kind of got a feeling we're going to be vectored a little bit in lieu of a hold, which I appreciate. I think managing this thing, first of all, I don't know that it turns down to 240 Delta 1708. I hope that's what he said. He kind of broke up. All right, 240. Okay, we're going to go ahead and set our descent rate for 1,500 feet per minute, and we've got to keep a close eye on our Mach number here because, as you've seen, it can vary if you don't pay attention. Alright, we're getting down to about where we want to be. I'm just adjusting that vertical speed indicator, and that takes care of all that for me. Downwind, happy Friday, brother. Hope you had a great week. I had to go back to work this week. Can you believe that? 3 whole days of work. What's up with that? Seriously cut into my laying around and doing nothing time. Alright, so here we go. We're creeping up again. And just trying to kind of manage that. It's a continual battle. You never appreciate VNAV more than after you fly a plane that doesn't have VNAV. I think we're doing a pretty good job, though, of staying decently close and in the ballpark. Try to give that 737 ahead of us a little bit of a head start coming in. And you know, every minute we kind of vector, now they're down to just 77 arrivals. Once they get this big group of planes in here, it's actually going to, heck, it's going to be like a library in there, man. It's going to be quiet. Here we are. They're trying to kind of keep us out of this guy's wake. And so, yeah, we're just trying to keep her about 0.75. We do also need to make sure that we are watching out for that. Also try to kind of take a look here. Didn't take a peek ahead of time. I know I'm going to Gulf.
Delta 1708, turn right direct to Eric. That Eric is in the 43 arrival.
And I heard right turn, but you broke up a little bit on the vector there for Delta 1708.
17 direct to Eric. That's ERICX. Eric is that is in the 43.
Okay, direct Eric's and the resume Torgy 3, Delta 1708. I hope I can do the Torgy 3. I better take a look-see here.
Center, Frontier Flight 587, level 370.
Arrival. Torgy, I cannot do the Torgy 3.
And I missed that before, my apologies. Correction, I turned right heading 020 direct to Redwood Falls, 180.
Thank you.
And was in the Peter 5 arrival at Redwood Falls.
Thank you very much. So right-hand turn direct Redwood Falls, and then we'll resume the Skeeter 5 for Delta 1708. Thank you. So we did tune that in, by the way. That's what we have right there. We are descending through 280, so we have a little bit of time here. Our speed is good. It's actually a little slow, honestly. So I'm going to spin this heading around, and at the same time I'm going to go ahead, since we're cleared direct Redwood Falls, I'm going to spin the INS around, and I'm going to wonder why it's not moving anywhere. That's bad. That's very bad. Well, we'll just pop over to the RNAV here, and we'll see. That's alive at least, so I wonder what happened with the INS. That's crazy. Alright, but we'll keep that guy coming around. We're not worried about any particular radial. We're just going to get on a heading that's direct to. There's 270, 3,000 to go. We're going to go ahead and flip that over to the VOR.
Southwest 123D, the via the P3 arrival, runway 12 right transition. Except maintain 300 knots or greater.
Okay, so we were cleared to resume the Torgy, or sorry, the Skeeter 5. So again, that Skeeter 5 wants us to be down to 11,000 at Sean. So we're going to spin that in here. And again, Sean is, we're estimating is about 60. May actually be a little further than that. 34 and 44, so 84 miles. Why am I just saying this and not showing you? So there's Sean. We're closing in on Redwood Falls, so we've got a. That doesn't seem right. I think it's 76 miles here. But that could very well be this leg also. I'm going to have to take a look. But anyway, we have to be 11,000 at Sean. I need to figure out what this, if this is 84. I got to see what that, I just have to see what that is. So I'm going to have to take a closer look kind of at the arrival here in just a second. But first I'm going to try to get actually on my VOR. And the INS is still not loving life here. I don't know why, but it's not. Here I was thinking maybe we'd make it all the way with all of our waypoints, but for some reason waypoint number 5 is not. Desired track is saying should be 86 degrees, which is pretty close to where we are, honestly. But if I flip that over and I turn that to 86, that doesn't do a single thing. Should be centering up, and it's just not. Well, that's why you put both in, just in case you have some issues. And alright, I think we're stabilized. Sometimes at these higher altitudes, the plane tends to want to kind of rock back and forth, and maybe it's going to do it again. I don't know. See if it stabilizes itself here, or if I just need to fly it on heading mode. Speed is a little slow, honestly, and I could continue to come up, although I'm well above 300, so I'm not going to. I'm just going to let it kind of stabilize here at about 0.72. Try to pull up the Skeeter 5. See if I can get a distance measurement here. So we're just about to Redwood Falls. Alright, see if this makes any sense. Redwood Falls. So it looks like we've got a 44 into Sean. Okay, that makes more sense. And then 41 from Sean on in. So when I get either 44 outbound or 41, excuse me, the other way around, 44 outbound or 41, try that one more time, 44 inbound or 41 outbound, that's where I should be at 11,000. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Oh, so been away for just a second from the chat there, downwind. Apologize for that. I've been trying to idiot-proof my cockpit, but I just can't find out how to open the window.
1708, last assignment was flight level 240, but I see you descending now. Turn 30 degrees, left vectors for spacing once again, and reduce to 250 knots per station.
Okay, my apologies. I thought I was cleared to resume the approach, which I thought had me down at 11,000 at Sean, so we'll level off here. We'll turn 30 degrees to the left and down to 250 for 1708.
That's 1708, Roger. Maintain flight level 190 for now. Yeah, no, I'm lower for you. Be advised, this is not a descent. If you get arrival, you'll have to receive an explicit descent on this one.
Oh, my apologies for that. So we'll stay here at 19er, about 193, and slow down and wait for further descent. Oh, that's okay.
1708, maintain flight level 190.
190 for 1708. All right, so I can go down a little bit more.
Alpha contact Minneapolis, 135.47 minutes.
3547 Alpha.
All right, let's slow down here. Slow down, baby. Downwind sim says he's finally been home for a week. He's been gone most of July. Yeah, school starts here a week and a half. Yeah, us here too. I hope I didn't just miss another call. Trying to get down to 19,000.
1368 approved at that back on.
All right. And the other thing Downwind was trying to help me out with is reading this chart. What I really needed help with, Downwind, is recognizing that it wasn't a descend via approach. It was wait until you get your descent clearance approach. I'm going to have to look. I didn't realize there was a difference. I honestly did not until I was today years old when I learned that, and I don't know why. Hey, Al South checking in. Al South, you just missed me kind of getting in trouble with ATC. Al South, we are in the beautiful Aerosoft Douglas DC-8 the only 4-engined aircraft that I own, and she's a lot to manage, but right now she's the least of our problems. It is a nice aircraft, and each time out I get a little bit better, and yeah, I just kind of tonight I've just been making some just really dumb mistakes. Might have to turn some of this on here. I don't like having that one on. That's too bright.
1368, Roger.
We're trying to get our speed to 250, which we've done a good job of. We're level at 19,000. We were supposed to level off at 240. I didn't realize that. I thought we were supposed to descend via the approach, which has us at 11,000 at Sean, which is well, it would have been 44 miles past the Redwood Falls VOR, but since we descended
1708, the maintain a 150,000, 13,000.
Down 13,000, Delta 1708. Since we descended where we shouldn't have, 3009, thanks, 1708. Since we descended where we shouldn't have, we were re-vectored, and rightly so. There's quite a bit of traffic here to not be at the right altitude. So, all right. 3003, I think is what he said. No, 3009. Oh, you know what? There's another mistake I made. I never did set that thing to standard barrel over 180. So my altitude's been reading wrong to ATC this whole time. Okay, well, there's no such thing as the perfect flight, and I'm proving that tonight. But overall, though, it's been a nice flight. We've dodged the bad weather. We've had a little bit of bad weather that we've went over the top of, and for the most part, the departure out of Denver was improved. We managed to keep airspeed a lot better than we have. I know, checklist, baby, and you're absolutely right. And I even went through, I don't know how I missed that, because I went through the cruise checklist. But you know what I haven't done? Descent checklist. So top of descent.
1708, turn right direct to Sean. It's actually correct. You won't be able to do that. Fly heading correction. Delta 1708, turn right heading 120. Fly heading 120 vectors to rejoin the run.
Okay, right turn 120 vectors to rejoin Delta 1708. Yeah, no excuses. I'm just looking right now. I'll let this guy turn and careful of the speed. We're not quite to, yeah, we're still 16.5. So climb, yeah, climb. You know what I did? I missed my climb checklist. Yeah, that's what I did. All right, descent checklist. There's no sense crying over spilled milk. Top of descent planning complete. Ice protection, windshield heat as needed. Right now, our outside temperatures are 10 above, so we're good there. Tank selectors need to all be on main. Tank valves need to all be closed. Everything else here is looking pretty balanced. Yep, I can live with that. Tank boost pumps are all off, and which they are. I do need to go and calculate my VREF. I am a little quick still. Let's bring the speed down there, big fella. This thing loves to glide, and sometimes it's hard to slow down. Alright, we're going to check out our VREF here. This is just part of the documentation. We will be flaps 35. Our weight right now is 23, so we'll be below 23. let's just say we're going to be around 22. So flaps 35. So our VREF is 142. Alright. We're going to clear these out. Set 142. We'll leave that guy in. Yeah, kind of in there-ish. That's our flap speed. That does not change. And the approach, we need to brief the approach. It's going to be a visual approach into either 1-2 left or 1-2 right. We have looked at the charts for an ILS approach, but we'll wait to brief this approach until we actually are.
Turn left heading 090, join the Redwood Falls 065 radial outbound. Year 5 arrival, and it's going to maintain 1000.
Left turn 090 will join the 065 outbound radial from Redwood and rejoin the arrival, Delta 1708. And down to 9,000.
Left turn 090, just maintain 1000, maintain 250.
11,250. Alright, 065. Okay, so we'll pick that up here in just a second.
43 arrival at 1T right transition, Minneapolis clear 3009.
We are trying to get slowed down, and we're at 13,000, so 2,000 to go. We're just slightly quick here. Yep, set the localizer frequency and expected. Yeah, here's what I don't know how to do just yet. I don't know how to put something in the second radio and then flip it over. I'm sure it has something to do with just turning these on and off to standby, but I just haven't messed with it enough, so I just update as we go. I jump over to heading mode for just a second, and I update the frequency, and then we go from there. All right, here we go. We just about got that guy coming in, so...
Challenge Cargo 523 in Minneapolis, same question for you. Are you able to reprogram?
Just about
you're able to reprogram off of this
where we need to be here.
Okay,
and you know, we're 1,000 to go here, and we're gonna be at 11,000 at Sean, it looks like. And we were thinking that would be at 44 nautical miles from Redwood Falls, and that's exactly what it looks like it's going to be. Yep. So anyway, still working through the checklist, still working through the flow. What I need is one of you guys to be the, over here in this seat helping me, and then the other guy could be back here in the engineer's station. That would be a lot of fun, wouldn't it? Alright, pretty close. I'm going to just let it come a little bit further and track outbound. Al South, you know what? I'll pay you double what you're making right now to be a virtual engineer in any other DC-8 right now, buddy. I'm sorry, was that for 1708? Okay, thank God. Well, and somehow I went through my altitude again. I don't know how I did.
1708, contact Minneapolis approach 126.35. Maintain 1000. Last assigned altitude, you're indicating 10,500. 11,000 assigned.
Okay, 12035 and 11,000 for Delta 1708.
Canadian Express 362, contact Minneapolis approach
126.35. All right, yeah, boy, I've had a hard time.
2635.
I've had a hard time with my altitude tonight for some reason. 2635. Just not paying attention.
All right, join the 12 right transit.
Now I'm descending again. Why am I descending? Ah, gosh.
To right transition altimeter 3009 Delta 67 heavy.
We'll get, I'm that guy tonight, guys. I'm that guy. It's all fun and games when you're flying the vintage DC-8 until you forget how to fly the vintage DC-8. Alright, let's try to get back up to 11,000 at least. Let's try to get our speed back up. This is what's tough. Now I'm down, my speed's down. Trying to get back up to 250 is going to be a chore. Alright, while we're doing that, I'm going to get the ATIS because I'm sure it's updated. Yep, it's now information Papa.
362
Oy vey.
12 left.
I'd like to at least be able to check in at 11,000. That would be a small win, if nothing else. Al South is laughing at me. Downwind's getting dessert. Yeah. I was about to say if you guys stepped in and helped me out, I would make sure that the flight attendant brought you in a little something, you know. Heck, it's the old DC-8 days. They might bring in a flippin' scotch or something to you. I don't know. Jeez.
We don't need a vector slight left turn to line us up for the approach to 1-2 right.
We're below where we should be. We're probably going to be too close to, we'll get up to 11,000 and then we'll be too high. Alright, well, you know, doggone it. Slid a little bit off the outbound here as well. 50 nautical miles away, so we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here, guys. We're getting close enough to check in.
Southwest 123 still does not top to the speed.
Southwest 123, 210, E10.
210 knots for Southwest.
Okay, there's our speed. And approach, good evening, Delta 1708. Information, Papa. We're on the Skeeter 5 at 11,000. We're pretty close.
Southwest 123, contact Minneapolis, approach 119.30.
119.30 for Southwest 123, good day.
Delta 1708, heavy, Minneapolis approach, turn right heading 090, vectors, visual approach, runway 12 right.
Right turn 090, Delta 1708. Alright, 090.
Delta 1708, descend maintain 9,000.
9,000, 1708. Yeah, that's no guarantee. I've had trouble with that tonight. Almost feel like I should just fly it manually.
Go ahead. Yeah, I was 302. I've called you 4 times. The heading's 180. I don't know where you're going.
We're sorry.
He's having the kind of night I'm having.
From you. Well, we can go 180 if you'd like.
3702. Turn right heading 180 immediately.
Alright, we've got some lights peeking through. That's looking good.
Alright, we're immediately turning.
Ground contact, I think, is always a good thing. Speed's still a little bit high. Descent rate, you know, we want to be at about 1,000 or so, but I was a little bit nervous.
9.3.
Says he doesn't know where he's going. Yeah, that's kind of like me at half the time. I know we're in the state of Minnesota. I do know. Uh-oh, something's beeping. Oh, that was 9 or 1,000. That's the problem, is I keep clicking out to look at my checklists and such, and then I miss my little warning beep, and that's part of why I'm not leveling off where I should be. Oh, my speed. She loves to fly. Loves to fly. We're going to start leveling it out. That'll bring the speed down nicely. honestly, below 10,000.
Delta 1708, turn right heading 180, maintain 230 knots.
Right turn 180 and slowing to 230, Delta 1708. Yeah, gosh darn it.
Canadian 362, contact
180.
I haven't heard a read back.
We will slow down quickly though now that we are level. We actually leveled off just a little bit before when we should, so let me get the nose down again. Alright, speed's coming down nicely. I was just about to say that below 10,000, I think it's nice to be able to get that speed down to about 230. Alright, localize your frequency. Hey, downwind sim. You're ahead of me, man. 110.3, although we haven't been cleared to... Yeah, we have.
Yeah, 3702, 210 knots, 210, maintain 210 knots.
Yep, we're maintaining 210 knots for 3702.
Delta 9525, heavy Minneapolis approach, with me.
Alright. Speed, good.
Delta 9525,
1-2 right is what we were cleared. And our approach course 121, by the way, just in case. There we go. We've got the localizer and the glide slope. So let's spin this around to a 121.
Southwest 462, contact Minneapolis approach 119.3.
Speed's getting a little slow. I'm going to try to get back up. We're actually below flap speed here. Right turn 300, Delta 1708. I must be getting vectored.
Canadian Express 6. Expect 1 2 left.
Expecting 1 2 left and 6.
That's what you get when you don't comply with ATC like you should. You get vectored, you get put in line, and that's what should happen. Really, truly. Actually, what really happens is you you end up getting that phone call to make. That I've got a number for you to call when you get on the ground. Yeah, doing a circle, downwind sim, doing a circle for spacing. Yeah, and I haven't had a chance really to look back over on that map, but I wouldn't be surprising. But just looking at my localizer arrow, I could tell that I was a little bit east of the airfield.
American 10-4 with you today, passing through flight level 240 on the Torquay approach.
I am looking for my virtual CFI, by the way. I need that guy there sort of holding my hand and nudging me through this process. You want to learn the DC-8 with me? I mean, you're already helping.
Joining 12 right.
Okay, we're getting the speed back up, 230. We're
Marion 1064 negative.
Captain's lights. I want to have all this up, but I don't want to have... I don't like this overhead light here thing. How do I turn that off? I had that figured out. Now I got to have that on. Oh well, I'm not going to mess around with it. I got enough to worry about. I did have it one time where I didn't have this... Left turn 270, Delta 1708. Alright, here we go, baby. We're starting to head back the right direction. 25 miles. So we're in spitting range. Look at that moon. How about that? Probably don't have a camera angle.
That's not for Spirit Link.
There we go. That looks beautiful. I expected Al to start howling at that.
Canadian Express 610, contact Minneapolis 119.3.
Alright,
119 to 12 feet.
we may have to be ready for a handoff to a different approach controller here.
Delta 95, 25 heavy, contact Minneapolis.
About to become a werewolf, Al South said. I thought maybe you went back to first class and started having some drinks with all the rich guys.
Delta 17 is 08 heavy, descend and maintain 8,000, turn right heading 010.
Down to 8,000 and right turn 010, Delta 1708 heavy. 8,000. Right turn 010.
Spirit wings 280, expect runway 12 right. Expecting
Around we go. There's 010-ish. Let's nose down. Let's get 1,000 feet per minute. Let's get our... how did that speed creep up back up on me? Doggone it. Doggone it, guys. She loves to run. She loves to run.
American 1064, Minneapolis.
Bringing it back basically to idle here. And just hoping I don't screw myself up and have to get resequenced. I better look at this.
Shake hands for American 1064.
What's it looking like here? Oh yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess.
120.
There we are. Alright, there we are. Hey, you know, at least I didn't try to fly the C-47 in there. Yeah, you know what? You're right. That was cheating. I was honestly more looking at just what the traffic was looking like, just out of curiosity. All right, we are just about there. Hey, I'm actually going to level off at an assigned altitude. It's the first one in about 5 that I've been assigned. Right turn 030, Delta 1708 heavy. 030. Okay, the speed is better. Let's try not to get too slow here.
1990 Minneapolis approach. Second vectors, visual runway.
The interesting thing about this plane is, yeah, I do that too. Is it's tough to get the speed up, but once you get to a certain speed, that nose kind of pitches over, and then it really picks up speed at a decent rate. But you get down about flap speed like I am right now, and it's kind of like some of those planes that take 1930 for Delta 1708. Thanks, see you.
One 126.7 will notify. Thank you for your help.
UPS 445 heavy contact tower 126.
It's kind of like those planes that you have to really throttle up to kind of break the ground friction when you're first taxiing, you know. It's a little like that in the air. You really have to give it some gas to get it going, but once it's going, you can back way off.
445 heavy contact tower 126.7.
126.7.
There's some traffic.
Skywagon out of the air for UPS.
Skywagon.
Appreciate it. Kennedy Express 610 to maintain 4,000.
4,000 feet, Kennedy Express 610.
Southwest 462, turn right heading 050. 050, Southwest 462. Southwest 123, final approach course, turn right.
Alright, below the glide slope at least, that's good.
140 for Southwest 223. Delta 611, heavy turn right heading 050.
Riding 052, Delta 611.
Delta 6.
And approach Delta 1708 at 8,000.
Delta 7 blade approach, maintain 6,000.
6,000, 1708.
Delta 9525 heavy, turn tender, please right, you're going to maintain 6,000.
Okay, boys. Time to pay attention. Yeah, it was almost like a monitor approach, 119.3, but that's what I love about these FNOs, man. It pushes you, it tests you, it stresses you. You have to see how you respond. We're below 10,000 feet, by the way. We need to, hard to see here, but landing lights are on. Get the retracts on. We do have to also slowing to 190, Delta 1708. Alright, full on idle. There is no, I don't think, I don't think there's any kind of a spoiler or speed brake. Nope. So we're just going to have to idle down. I'll slow our descent rate here a little bit also. That'll help us. And then once we get below it's about 210, we can throw a notch of flaps in, and that'll help. So we're kind of on, like right now. Okay, vectors on the final, or for final on present heading, and then turn back for Delta 1708.
Southwest 123, you don't appear to be established on localizer. Turn 20
so we're getting pretty close here. I'm going to throw a notch. I think we're close enough we can drop a notch of flaps. That'll help us get down to 190. We're within 1,000. I want to add some power back in. Don't want to just be a complete 4-engine glider here.
I got traffic inside Southwest 462. Southwest 462, follow company to the airport, clear visual approach, runway 12 right. Follow company to the airport, clear visual approach, 12 right, Delta 4. 1990 approach. Westwind 1990.
Okay, localizer is alive. No, I take that back. That may be glide slope.
Westwind 1990, turn left heading 180, just to maintain 4,000. 180 down to 4,000, 990. Actually, Westwind 1990, let's make it a 150 heading, 150 heading, join the localizer.
So they're going to take me through the localizer here, and I think I see why. We've got some plane out in front of us.
382, you here? Winds 382 with you, 7 tons. Airplane 382, Minneapolis, first turn left heading 270.
300 to go, and then we're at 6,000.
Delta 1708, turn left heading 180. I say again, turn left heading 180.
Left turn 180, Delta 708. All right, 180, little 180 spin. That's expected. We're going to level off here right now. Okay, we'll keep the left turn going. We've leveled off here, so we're going to have to add some power to keep 190.
Hey, we're inside,
Bringing it around town. We're going to, again, intercept that localizer basically from the opposite side, from the north. Downwind sim saying I've got 5 other planes around. These ATC are absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I can see it, and
getting slow. I got it almost down the ref speed here. I got to get my power.
Southwest 123. If you were tracking the localizer, we wouldn't have this problem. So
yeah.
Visual approach runway 2 right.
I'm really pitching up too. That's a huge issue.
1522. We're crossing Greek.
I'm in danger of stalling here, guys. I got to get things going. There we go. We're coming back around.
190 on the speed. Delta 1522.
There's some traffic ahead of us. I think we'll probably be following that guy. Speed's coming back up good.
Usual 12 right. What was the frequency again?
126.
Need to get you guys on my Discord voice channel. That's what I need to do. It's hard to fly and glance over at the chat messages.
It's not going to work. Southwest 462, it's not going to work.
Alright, speed's coming back up. We're gonna bring back a little bit so we don't blow through the 190.
12 left, we can slow to final approach speed now, but we need to land. We're close to minimum. Okay, Southwest 462, verify 12 left is in sight. It is in sight and the traffic.
Alright, keeping an eye on the localizer.
For me, clear visual approach 12 left, contact tower 123.905. Thanks for your help. Thank you. Southwest 462, delivers approach 12 left and 2395. Delta 1708, turn left, setting 120, intercept 12 left localizer. Correction, 12 right localizer, 12 right.
Turning left and we'll intercept that 12 right localizer, 1708. Alright. And that was a late turn, darn it. But we'll be okay, we can pick it up from the other side. Speed staying pretty good. We have lost our glide slope here, but I think it's because, yeah, we're 23 miles away. So I'm actually going to go back to heading mode, and we'll just vector ourselves kind of back to the east. We'll try to get this localizer coming back into the center. Speed looks good.
Visual 12 left, contact tower 123.
There we go. That's localizer starting to come around. So we'll spin it to localizer mode, or excuse me, ILS mode. It's grabbing the localizer. That looks good. There's our glide slope. That's good. Speed is still pretty good.
6.7.
Clear visual approach 12 right, order tower 126.7, good night, Delta 67 heavy.
Delta 525 heavy, turn right heading 120.
Alright, we appear to be on the 12 right. Not quite on the localizer yet, but pretty close. That will mellow out as we go. Here comes the glide slope. Let's see what happens here. Hopefully the descent will begin automatically.
Yeah, 3702, change the runway, expect 12 left, 12 left. Alright, we'll expect 12 left for 37 knots.
And sure enough, there we go. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm going to add a second notch of flaps, and we're going to start to creep towards... Down to 4,000, we have the airfield side, 1708.
Delta 17, approach runway 122 right, caution, wake turbulence 6.5, and trail heavy 777.
Cleared visual approach 12 right, Delta 1708. So wake turb. So we are cleared if we want.
1708, maintain 170 knots, still a 5 mile final.
And slowing to 170 till 5 DME, 1708. Yeah. So we'll bring the power back. That's our low power warning. We need, we go flaps 25. So caution wake turb means we are able to fly a little high or a little low of the glide slope just to avoid the wake turb. Speed's coming down. We're going to go ahead and go gear down here. It's a little bit early, but I want to get that speed down, and we're below flap speed, so we're good to drop the gear. Yeah, that's the low speed horn. It doesn't like it, especially this low when you bring speed back to idle. It does not like that.
Currently 382, just want to maintain 5,000.
Alright, traffic in front of us looks like they are down.
Delta 2364 approach.
I never did pick up the terminal I was supposed to head to. I think it's Terminal 1. I think it's the terminal on our left.
5,000, no, 23.
Alright, speed's much better now. Actually, maybe a hair slow. Let's not stall on 10 mile final.
Skywest 3000, are you able to direct altitude on the 12 left final? You'll be
want to be fully configured and stable at 7.
Contact tower 126.7.
And we're supposed to be 170 until 5 DME, so we got to make sure that we keep that.
Delta 08 tower 126.7.
2670 Delta 1708. See it.
Delta 9525 verify you still have the DPA. Actually, 176 for departure. That's pretty much what. 324, you in frequency? I'm going to stay for you, sir.
We're super slow.
324, only 12 right, line up the wing. We're going to stay for you, 12 right, line up the wing. Southwest 123 is cleared of 12 right. Alright, Southwest 123, why weren't you talking to me on the push, sir? Oh, sorry, I got really busy. Alright, Southwest 123, not a problem. Turn right there on Alpha 4 and hold short of 12 right. Going to terminal H. Going to one of the H gauge 8.
Come on, dude. Finish up your call. I need to talk.
Yeah, it's affirmative. You're actually on the wrong side of the runway. That's what you do when you don't talk with me. Number 611, continue rolling all the way down to Alpha 3 or Alpha 2 and turning left and contact ground point 9.
Continue on Alpha 3, our guide is Foxtrot 10, okay to the left turn.
Yeah.
For 611.
So 611, that's not a problem, so that works as well. Contact ground point 9, good night.
Good night, Delta 611 heavy.
Tower Delta 1708, short final. I'm going to have to go around. I've got a plane on the...
American 324, that's runway heading, clear for takeoff, 2005 is the wind. Runway heading, clear for takeoff, runway 12 right. Runway 234.
Ah, that's bad. 1708 on the short final, 12 right. 3, there's no way.
1708, you're following departure to the Boeing 737 and 512 right, clear line.
12 right, clear to land. Oh, baby, this could be interesting, boys and girls. Autopilot off. Let's see what happens.
traffic.
Okay, we're at VREF.
So it's 1708, you can plan to exit at either Alpha 5 or Alpha 3 or later. There is going to be a blocking aircraft on Alpha 4.
Roger, 1708. Alpha 5 or Alpha 3 or later. Alright, let's not...
On Alpha 4 across 12 right, approach Southwest 126.
Alright, here we go. A little bit right.
Hold position. American 3 contact.
Yeah, a little bit of a long glide there. Alright, so there's the traffic that's blocking. Reversers are engaged. We want to go down. It's not a problem. We're definitely going to be down a little further. Slowing, slowing, slowing. And I think this is where we want to get off here. Alpha 3, perfect. That will work. So, you know, all in all, not a terrible landing. It was an absolutely brutal approach. I messed up so many things. Oh my goodness gracious. But we set her down halfway soft anyway, and over to ground, 1708. Alright. What is ground? Ground point 9er.
382 on the reach for runway 12.
Ironically, one of the controllers channel is ground point 9er, so I think he was one of the center controllers. Okay, 1219er And let's see. This could be interesting. Ground, good evening, Delta 1708. We're clear of 12 right on Alpha 3, and we're heading to Golf 19er tonight.
Delta 1708, Minneapolis ground, Roger, Bravo to parking.
Bravo to parking, Delta 1708. All right, let's get our bearings here. And, because I don't know exactly where the heck I am. I'm going to pull up a taxi chart. And I think I have to go, I maybe have to go all the way around here. Well, now wait a second. There is my stuff for GSX.
Yeah, cross 12 right at Charlie, Charlie to the gate, Southwest 460. American 238, monitor tower 126.7.
We want, let's see if we can do this as Golf. And what did we say? Gosh, I can't even remember. Golf 19.
423 heavy, monitor tower 126.7.
Golf 19er. Right there. No, we don't. Yeah, let's get a follow me car. I think we're just straight ahead, honestly.
Minneapolis ground, Southwest 2300, request taxi 17.
Hopefully nobody is waiting on us to get the heck out of the way,
Because,
like I say, I don't know where we're at. Okay, let's shut the retracts off. Let's put these over to taxi. Actually, I'm going to leave that on. It just gives us a little bit more light. Alright, where's my follow me truck at? I think that's right where we're at, guys. I really do, I really do. Before we go any further, I am going to pull up a different... Maybe not, it's not loading. Sorry guys, it's not loading. I think we're just going to come straight ahead. And...
November 760 Papa Lima, Minneapolis ground, contact clearance 133.2.
The Golf Terminal.
Repeat frequency, please. 0 Papa Lima. And Papa Lima 133.
Yeah, 19er. We're just right in here, guys. Sweet. Didn't even do that on purpose. Boy, we've got some bad frame rates now all of a sudden. So it didn't even send a follow me truck because, oh, there it is. He's like, hey, where you been, man? He's probably going to say, turn around, you're going the wrong way, dude. I love the follow me truck. There he is. All right. He's going, really? You were like 20 feet from your gate and you can't find it. Okay, well, left on Bravo, downwind said. Al south, thanks, pretty neat landing. Yeah, that was I don't know, man. Is that by the book? I don't know. I know they squeeze them in pretty darn tight, and so I think as long as they're
245, we are ready to taxi to runway 17.
I think that guy's taking me the wrong way. I think I want to go in here. I'm going to cheat. I should have a guy.
Charlie, short 12 right.
I should have a guy waving me in.
Minneapolis ground, United 2505, ready taxi.
Now the guy here is telling me.
Yeah, 2505, runway 12 taxi via Charlie.
Yeah, you know what.
6 hotel. Cross runway 4 behind the American 737 up right.
I'm just going to go to a gate. Right now I am tired and ready to park. This could potentially just be some static, you know, scenery elements. But usually with GSX they'll have, you know, your Sky Chef, they'll have your you know, they have some baggage carts and all that stuff kind of ready to rock and roll. But the thing I really like is they have the marshaller that tells you which way you're going, and I don't see him there. So we must be, oh yeah, that's Golf 22 and we're supposed to be 19er. Oh yeah, I see where we're supposed to be now. Dang it. There's our baggage cars.
2300 monitor tower 12617.
So what that guy, I think what that follow me truck was trying to do is get me to make a big right hand turn and just kind of go around, but we're not going to worry about it. We're close enough, and that's kind of been the theme of the day. So okay, we're here, and you know, not a fantastic flight, but a lot of good things. A little better than last time, so we'll take that. More than anything, just fun to get down here and mess around a little bit. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. It's always good to have extra eyes and things like that. It really does help. And I know I sound sarcastic sometimes, but that that really does help out. Gives you a little bit of confirmation, and I just wish there was a better way to, like I say, maybe we set up a little voice Discord, and that way you guys can kind of be in the co-pilot seat on the way in, and you can be telling me stuff, because as you saw, it's a lot to manage by hand, and even though this autopilot really does a lot for us, it still gets away from you a little bit, but hey, that's okay. All right, what's coming up? You know, guys, we'll, in all likelihood, we'll probably be flying somewhere tomorrow. I don't have anything officially planned, but I do, you know, there's some events tomorrow and Sunday, and there's a good chance we'll be in the air somewhere. So, you know, if you're around, you know, just tune in and or set your notification to beep or whatever it does. I do have, if you guys hold the phone here, I do have a Discord. I'm not very good at Discord, but I do have a Discord set up, and you guys are welcome to reach out to me if you're Discord people. It's let me see if I can get this. I don't know if this will copy or not, but I'll put it in the chat here, and you guys are welcome to look me up on Discord anytime. I do enjoy chatting with folks on Discord, and that's a ton of fun, just to connect with other pilots like that and learn from you guys. And so thanks for stopping by. You definitely made the flight that much more enjoyable. Downwind, enjoy your pizza if there's any left. Al South, I don't know what dessert you went to get, but enjoy. Hopefully it's ice cream or something like that. But thanks for checking in. Anybody else? All the ATC, if there happen to be some ATC guys lurking, great job as always. Busy event, fantastic and patient air traffic. I missed so many calls and so many altitude restrictions, and it was unbelievable. So I appreciate everybody's patience, but I'll definitely be back. I love it. It's so much fun, and the reason why it's so much fun is because of the ATC. And so thank you so much for all that you do and all that you bring to this sim. And I look forward to working with you guys again as soon as possible. For everybody else, I'll be watching on TCAS. Hope to see you there. And until that next flight, everybody take care and God bless.